Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Oh, welcome into a Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show. We've reached Friday. Yay. Yay. Especially this week, I think. I don't know why this has seemed like such a long week, but it is Masters Friday. So we will get into some Masters talk here this morning. We got the Bolts playing tonight against the Detroit Red Wings. We're pretty much cooked, but never fear. Those teams can get you. No
still the Red Wings.
They're still the Red Wings. They're
the
still
evil empire.
Team. Yeah, the evil. Yeah, I guess so, right? And we'll talk some Rays baseball. Oh, boy, was that ugly yesterday. Oh, is this a harbinger of things to come at Steinbrenner Field? Getting blown out. Get it? Blown out at Steinbrenner Field. When the wind blows out to right, it goes. It goes. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We got Masters to talk about. Another semi Rory meltdown. Can we say that?
I mean, he fell off a cliff yesterday in the first round, but he'll put it together.
He's playing great. He's playing
How about
awesome.
Justin Rose, man?
Justin Rose. The stats surrounding him in first round leads are really incredible. Like bananas type stuff. Jason Light spoke yesterday at his pre-draft press conference. Wow. A lot of nothing.
I mean,
but I finally found out why they do these things, which has always perplexed me. So we'll get into all that stuff. And of course, thank you guys for jumping in each and every day with your comments. I don't think we're going to have as many comments today, Timmy. I saw the YouTube, I guess StreamYard's having issues with YouTube.
Yeah.
So I apologize. You can always check out the show on Facebook. I guess if you're looking for it on YouTube, you're not listening to hear me say that right now. So fanstreamsports.com, you can listen to it. There's a lot of different ways. Obviously, on Twitter, you can. I think that's working today.
And if you guys are out there and you're on Twitter or you're watching on fanstreamsports.com, because you can watch and listen there, or if you're listening on the mobile app, free for iOS and Android, we're live there too.
Mm-hmm.
You can still comment with us using JP. I don't know that I've ever explained this, that this exists, but we do have a FanStream Sports Studio text line.
We do?
We do. 214-937-0569. You are able to just text in using your phone, and we'll see it on the text line here, and we'll read your comment. And it's just your phone number, so make sure you leave your name and where you're texting from, and we'll shout you out.
I did not know that. By the way, that is the great Tim Ham, coming from the great FanStream Sports DFW Dallas affiliate. So good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right. Where do you want to go first? You want to go first? The Masters, a little update here.
Yeah.
Justin Rose has birdied number 2, the par 5, with a nifty little sand shot and putt at number 2. So he is at 8 under par. And as we look at the leaderboard this
4 shots clear of Corey Connors, best Canadian golfer on the planet.
So you think, do you think Justin Rose is going to go on to win this?
I don't
know.
But it's fun watching him have a little bit of early success. I won't lie. I pull for the guy always.
Oh, you got to. Nice dude. Really nice dude. By the way, I'm looking at him yesterday as he's in the Butler cabin with the great Scott Van Pelt doing a little interview.
Yeah.
As an elder statesman. And you always harken back to when, was he 17 years old when he first burst on the scene at the British Open?
Yeah, sounds about right.
A gangly, dorky looking dude. I mean, just a dorky looking young English boy with just a fabulous gift for the game, and always super respectful of the game. But he has turned into quite a handsome lad. He really has, and a great spokesperson for the game, and can obviously still freaking play. He was, as he said yesterday, it felt like he was throwing a no-hitter. And I watched his entire round, and I don't think the guy freaking missed a shot. Did not miss a shot, and just was absolutely perfect around there. And that's what you got to be. Just one slip up can cost you so dearly, as we saw with Rory McIlroy at 15, Patrick Cantlay at 15. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Roy played like JP for the first 14 holes and then like Tim on the final 4 holes.
Very astute. Yes, John.
I think that is a great analysis right there.
It's a great analysis.
Well done, Trevor Immelman.
And then B's jumping in here. I called Justin Rose. No, you did not, B. You called Scotty Scheffler, sir.
That's right. You went out on a limb and called Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, you can't fall back on Justin Rose.
Captain Obvious. What are you talking about? So listen to this. This is the ninth time Rose has led or co-led following any Masters round. 4 more than any other player in tournament history without a victory. Rose has led more rounds here than scores of multiple-time Masters champions, including the likes of Tom Watson, 7, Seve Ballesteros, 6, and Nick Faldo, 3 each, being the one that ends in a green jacket ceremony. So, I mean, he has led more rounds than guys that have won the thing multiple times. I mean, talk about not being able to finish. Holy shizbang. Poor fella. But, maybe this is the week.
And there was some interesting stuff I was watching on Golf Channel on their golf look-in of the guys at the don't call it the range. It's not the driving range. It's the tournament practice area.
Tournament practice area.
When you're at Augusta. But it was interesting because, I remember a time on the tour when that tournament practice area wasn't so crowded. I feel like they allow everybody and their little brother inside the ropes at the tournament practice area now. And it used to be, when I remember watching golf years ago, it used to just be the players and their caddy. Their coaches weren't even on the range with them. That was you really didn't work on shots like that on your game. You worked on your game between tournaments, and when you showed up, you played. But this morning we're watching Xander Schauffele with his caddy, with his coach,
his physio.
Another player was over there that I didn't recognize, and then another player walked over. Yeah. And you could tell that Xander's clearly working on his swing, and he's uncomfortable with something.
This is the business of golf.
Yeah.
Is what this is now, Timmy. This is the big business of golf. Because the practice area now is where all the deals are done,
right?
All the club things are done, where people get their Instagram stuff done to market themselves as a golf guru, whatever. So there's a lot going on there. It's not just practice anymore. It's the business of golf is where it gets done there, and no place more famous than the Masters practice facility.
That's right.
The Masters practice facility. So yeah, it's everything's different at the Masters. And that's what makes it special.
And that's why
we
it's
talked about
man.
yesterday. So let's get
I do have some Masters stuff later if we have time, JP. I can go over, and this was shocking to me, as much of a Masters freak as I am. I didn't realize everything that came with winning the Masters. It's not just a green jacket. It's not just the trophy, and it's not just the champions dinner. There's so much more that you get when you win.
I'm intrigued now. I'm intrigued. First of all, you're a made man for life. Like you never have to work again. You just have to show up as a Masters champion. You can do corporate outings for $1 million for the rest of your life. Danny Willett will attest to that.
He will attest to that.
He will attest to that. It's just, you win the Masters. It's over. You've won the game of life. You've done it. And that's as it should be, because it's freaking hard. It's really hard to win the Masters. Yeah. But once in a while, someone pops up that maybe is not a multiple time major champion and never does anything again in their career. But and that's part of it, because, and you see this with a lot of guys that get red hot, like, and I wanted to get in this conversation vis-a-vis John Rahm, Brooks Koepka. Mm-hmm. I don't even know where the hell they finished at the end. Last I saw, Rahm was like 3 over par.
Yeah, Rahm's not having a good day.
Yeah, and Brooks Koepka, what did he finish at? 2 over?
Koepka is 1 over.
1 over. Yeah, so he might still be a little bit in touch. By the way, if you're not within 4 strokes after day 1, 18 of the last 19 winners are within 4 strokes of the lead. So that's Justin Rose at 8 under now. Oberg, who looks really, really good.
And he does.
Corey Connors, Scheffler, DeChambeau, Terrell Hatton, Berger at 2 under now. He's out early this morning.
How about Daniel Berger, man?
Sanjay M.
Fitzpatrick?
Bhatia, Akshay Bhatia last night finishes, he's 1 over and then brought it in with birdies at 16, 17, and 18, while Rory just melted right next to him, which brings us to Rory. Man, was he playing some good golf? He's 4 under par. 4 under par. At that particular point, I think he was 3 back of Scheffler.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, I mean, first round, I'm not looking at where the leader is. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of unimportant. You just want to go out there and shoot 68. If you shoot 68 on day one, especially Rory, who's struggled mightily in the first round, he hasn't broken 70, I think, in 11 years in the first round. So he's sitting there, hits a bomb at 15. He's sitting there 30 yards, 230 out, right in the middle of the fairway at 15, high above, where I once watched the great Chip Beck lay up.
Oh, no.
The worst decision of his life. I was there the day Chip Beck laid up from 195.
Oh, no.
Pissed away his opportunity at, I think it was like 195, 200, some ridiculous number, and he pulled out a freaking iron, and I'm like, and back there in the day, I think this was in the mid 90s. It was like, oh, you're laying up. What the fuck are you doing, bro? Anyway. And I'm like, wow, Rory's got a chance to maybe shoot 64, shoot 65 with the holes he has left. Wow. He's definitely going to birdie here. Might even make eagle. And he hits what I thought was an absolutely gorgeous 3-iron. Was it 3? That he hit there? I think it was
a 3. Yeah.
No, 4. I'm sorry, 4-iron.
Was it a 4?
It's 4-iron from 235. Yikes. So from 235. And he hits it I think he hit it about level with the flag, like pin high. And it takes a humongous hop. And it sounded like it hit a pool table.
Yeah.
Thump. And it takes this humongous hop and goes over the green at 15. Not a terrible place to be. But I thought he was a little unlucky with the bounce. And
the hole placement did not set up well for a recovery shot from behind the green there either.
Now, the further right you are, looking at the hole from the fairway, the further right you are, the less slope you have to work with.
Yeah.
But he made a critical error in landing the ball in his next shot, in landing the ball on the green.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. You have to chip it into the fringe, and you have to take your medicine there. You just have to understand. You cannot be aggressive with that shot heading downhill towards the lake. And when he landed it on the green, it never had a chance. I mean, it never had. This was not one that got to the crest and then just trickled over and picked up speed. I mean, that thing went in like a freight train.
Yeah, it was going. There was no doubt.
A freight train. It was bad. And then he went to the drop area, which, I mean, once you do that, it's tough. Hell, Patrick Cantlay was in the same position and hit the ball in the water twice.
Yeah.
So Rory went to the other side and it got in the drop area and hit it back at, where you're hitting into the hill at least, and makes double bogey right there. I mean, he should have you're looking at a possible eagle, an absolute no-brainer birdie, and you come up with double bogey.
After that perfect tee shot too, setting himself up perfectly.
Perfect tee shot. So now, and to his detriment, he let it simmer. And he goes out and double bogey 17.
Yep.
When he just hit and he had a wedge from the fringe. Well, not fringe, from the first cut. From the first cut. He had a decent drive on 17 and ends up double bogeying that. So you can't tell me that didn't get in his head, because it was another chip shot from over the green that just, and he ends up shooting even par, right? Even par.
Yeah. Thankfully, the 4 birdies earlier in his round saved him from shooting over par again on a Thursday at the Masters.
Yeah.
But still, that finish.
Yeah. I mean, it's quintessential Rory at the Masters, and this chase of this elusive grand slam for him that everybody is invested in, if you're a golf fan. And Rory is beloved. I love Rory. I love his honesty. I love everything about the dude. I really do. I think he's you can have some critical thoughts of some things that he said over the year, but I love his defense of the PGA Tour. I love the fact he didn't take the money like these other schmucks did. I love that part, and that takes a lot of courage to do what he's done. So he will forever be my guy in that regard. And I think that's why so many people are rooting for him. And when you see this happen, you're just like, oh, dog, what are you doing? And then he left after the round, did not talk to the media, which is probably best for him. It's not like it's at the end of the tournament when you're, Morikawa walking out, but
right. I mean, but if there's any consolation for him here, it was Thursday. It wasn't a Sunday. He didn't have a 4-shot lead that he blew coming in on the second 9. And, there's still time to recover. All right. I still think, low double digits to high single digits wins this thing. Weather's supposed to turn a little bit this afternoon for sure.
Get a little bit more windy.
And rain. Yeah, it's supposed to rain again this afternoon.
So, is it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, this course needs some rain. It is absolutely lightning fast. Yeah. What Scotty did yesterday, Scotty Scheffler and what Justin Rose did yesterday, anybody who shot under par played well. How about Freddie Couples?
Man, 1 under at the age of 65.
65, and he knocks one in with a 6 hybrid from 195 on 14. He also made like a 48-footer on I think it was 2 or 1 for birdie, and he shoots 1 under par at 65 years old.
Did you see him yucking it up with that fan too? That patron that was over there.
Yes, yeah,
so
fantastic. Fantastic.
And I love Freddie. That's why he's been my favorite golfer for just years, man. I loved him back in the day.
So he's the second oldest, or just the second player over 60 to shoot under par. Tom Watson was the other.
Watson,
yeah.
And look at Bernhard Longer in his last Masters, shot 2 over, and he was under par for a lot of his round.
Yeah. So both of those guys have a good chance of making the cut.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you look at some of these other younger players who just have infinitely more talent and length, shooting 5, 6, 7 over par, which brings me to Jon Rahm and Brooks Koepka, the 2 live golfers that we all, believe have the ability to win majors consistently. They've proven that, obviously, until they went to live.
Yeah.
Now, Bryson DeChambeau, let's give it up for him. He's been able to become and stay competitive in these events and win. Playing 54 holes. By the way, I don't care how much money you give me.
Fake golf.
I ain't wearing what Sergio Garcia has to wear at the Masters.
And did you hear why he did that?
Did you see that clown outfit?
Did you hear?
Yeah, don't they have to wear their live uniforms?
No, that was his Spain's the flag of Spain colors.
Okay.
He was doing it. I'm like, that is so disrespectful to your home country to have to throw that on to go out there for Thursday at the Masters. That, number one, I hate that guy anyway. He's one of the biggest jerks on either tour. But that was just ridiculous. Everybody makes fun of Ricky for wearing his Oklahoma State orange on Sunday, but it never looks like that. That was just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
and it's not any better today.
I haven't seen it yet today. I haven't seen it yet today.
I think he's got a black sweater. I hadn't seen what's under the sweater. I think he had a sweater on this morning when I saw him practicing, but he's got like either the red or the yellow pants on. I mean, it's just horrendous.
So before we have to get to this as well, as John Hill brings this up. Is peeing in the creek acceptable during the Masters on Augusta National?
You mean as a player or a patron?
A player. What's his name? Ballester, who was playing.
Jose something Ballester,
yeah. He's an amateur. He took a piss on the course.
He may never be invited back,
bro. Yeah, bro. I mean, there's certain things you can and cannot do at Augusta. I think
dude.
Pissing in Rays Creek is not going to be appreciated by the patrons or Fred.
I wonder
Ridley.
what his countryman Jose Maria Olazabal thought of that as he shot a 3 over yesterday.
You cannot hang out with your wang out at Augusta. That is going to be frowned upon in this establishment.
Hey, but kudos. You know what? When you got to go, you got to go. All right, that's just part of the man thing.
Not at the Masters. Not at the Masters.
At least he didn't have a cell phone.
My pimento cheese, my friend. Do not do that. Do not do that.
I
know beers are cheap there, but don't drink that one.
We need to get in touch with Scott Hamilton, find out how close he was on the course to that happening live.
We need to know more. We need to know more. Absolutely. We need to know more. Trying to check out all the leaderboard right here. Now, Justin's still at 8 under par, so we'll keep you posted on that. Yeah, right. I watched Rahm, and he was obviously one of my favorite players when he was out on the PGA Tour. And I just cannot imagine like how much money is enough that you have to make yourself completely irrelevant. And not only that, but I mean, you have to know, you cannot argue. Like, this is inarguable to me. Now, there may be an off chance that you go out and win a major, and DeChambeau has proved that you can. Yeah. But you can't tell me that playing 54 holes on that Carnival Tour, all over the world, the travel, you just can't tell me that's going to make you the best golfer you can possibly be. You can't. There's not an argument in the world that it's going to hold up for that. And I can't imagine at the peak of your career, just taking a big check to go play on a tour that's completely irrelevant in the mainstream of it.
Yeah.
It boggles the mind. And you have to ask yourself, what do you think Jon Rahm's thinking? What do you think Brooks Koepka? I don't know if Brooks even cares,
Brooks
to be quite honest.
He's got his money.
He's got his money, got a hot wife.
Yeah. Working on a 6th major.
Yeah. I don't, but what could have been? I mean, what could have been for a guy, especially like Koepka, who's so good in those moments and just completely screwed it up. Look, it's their life. Take the money, do whatever you want. It obviously, but I just can't imagine working that hard all your life and accomplishing what you accomplish, and then you just completely and you know what? I don't think this gets enough play. Screw you, Saudis. Those guys that came in and doing their sports washing and whatever the hell that was all about and still is about. It's just like you destroyed the PGA Tour. I mean, there's a lot of accomplices involved in this, but for golf fans, if you're just a golf fan, I mean, because a lot of these guys, I get it. Somebody waves $300 million under your nose, it's going to be hard to say no.
Yeah.
And the guys that did say no, the Jordan Spieths, the Justin Thomases, the Rory McIlroys, those guys deserve to be lauded their entire careers. I mean, I think they're going to prove to be the smarter ones, depending on your priorities in life, obviously.
Yeah.
But, when we come together and these players are brought into the Masters and we see everybody and we say to ourselves, man, this should be a weekly occurrence on the PGA Tour, at least every other week. And it's not. It's horrible for golf. And as a personal decision, boy, that was really.
And, Rahm leaving for LIV was very curious. The timing of it, because, he went like a year later than everybody else, right before last season.
After a lot of rhetoric that, thought he never would, right?
Right. And then he didn't play well when he went on, and I don't know what he's done recently on LIV Golf. I don't watch it. I don't give a crap. Once you sign that ticket, you're dead to me. I don't even care. Brooks Koepka was one of my favorite guys for a long time. I don't even follow him anymore. I watched him, this week, but Jon Rahm, he wasn't even on LIV Golf for, I think, like 2 months, two or three tournaments in. He was already complaining. Yeah. Why are we not playing 72 holes?
Yeah.
He was already trying to change it. Why don't we get official world golf rankings? It's like he didn't know that before he went there. It was very weird. And he has been a proponent of reunification, of playing 72 holes for the world golf rankings on LIV. That's all he has done is campaign for that since he went. And it's almost like he didn't know any of that before he went.
Right.
It's really weird.
Totally weird. Ridiculously weird. Absolutely. So James says Brooks shot 2 over yesterday in very difficult circumstances. Rory was 4 under, then double 2 of the last 3 holes. So to say Brooks is not playing well, I would wait until this tourney's over. I mean, it's not horrible, but look at his record. Look at his record since joining LIV. Yeah. He also says, by the way, Brooks Koepka won the PGA while at LIV Golf. Wasn't that like the first 3 months
like
he was on that
major,
tour?
After they all left. Yeah. So that's,
but after a while, playing 54 holes, not 72, is not going to make your game better, and I think we've seen that. So I pray that they can figure this stuff out. You know, there was some scuttlebutt that Trump was going to get involved, and obviously he's, you know, he has a lot of chops in the golf world, clearly, in develop it, knows a lot of people, knows all these people, and clearly sits in a seat that wields some influence and can get this stuff done, because clearly Jay Monahan's a complete bozo.
Buffoon.
So who's running the whole deal? And, you know, hopefully the Tigers of the world and the Rorys of the world and the people that really run the PGA Tour and the board can get together and figure this out, because it's just terrible for golf. That's why, you know, these majors are even, I guess they're more important now, but they're more important, but when the guys come play, they're just not the same players they once were. Simple as that. Brooks Koepka was dominating major championship golf before he went to live. Yeah,
he won the Masters in 23. He won the PGA Championship that same year, but that was like immediately after live began, and they bolted. So
yeah, it's
I don't count that.
It's sad. All right, so let's get into some of what we. Any other thoughts on the Masters before we?
Oh, I'm sure we'll discuss it a little bit more as we go through this.
Didn't you say that you had something like what you get with the Masters?
Yeah. Do you want to do that now?
Sure.
Or do you want to take a break and then do it?
No, we'll do it now. We got a couple of minutes before the break.
All right. So let me find it as I have it saved here.
I mean, I know you get the life. To me, the most important thing you get is the lifetime entry into the tournament.
God, I feel
because that keeps you.
I'm putting glasses on to read my phone.
Oh wow! Look at you!
So there's 15 things, JP, that the Masters champion gets. Of course, the green jacket started in 1949. They picked their color, Pantone 342C. It's called Augusta Green. Everyone gets it. Now we know that you get to keep it for a year, and then when you bring it back, it stays on premises. You don't get to take your jacket out.
Home with you?
The only one that never brought it back, Gary Player. What was it, 62? As he left it in South Africa and said, "Oh, I forgot," and he's never brought it back since.
He's never brought it back.
Never brought it back since. They made him another one to keep at the clubhouse. Yeah, so he's the only one that's kept it. You of course get your name engraved on the trophy. Trophy first started in '61 when Palmer won it. You get a replica of the trophy in a nice little carrying case. It's a 40% model of the original size of the trophy. You get a gold medal. JP, I wasn't aware of this. It was actually the original Masters trophy from 1934, the first year they had it.
And a gold medal?
It's a gold medal, a 3.5-inch medal featuring a raised image of the clubhouse on the front. You get a gold locket for your Masters win. It is supposed to be a gift for the winner's significant other, for the wife or the girlfriend. It's a little gold locket that opens up 3 ways.
Nice.
It's got a silhouette of the clubhouse inside of it.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Really, really cool. Of course, you get the invitation to the Champions Dinner. That started in 1952 after Ben Hogan's first victory. You get honorary membership to Augusta. We know that. You get a locker at the Champions locker room. We know that. Did you know, however, though, that, of course, since that space is very limited, that players share lockers? You don't have your own locker because there's so many winners now and so limited space. For instance, Scotty Scheffler shares a locker with 1971 winner Charles Coody and the late Byron Nelson.
So I think Charles was playing up until like 3 or 4 years ago.
Right. I think he was.
Yeah. Can you imagine showing it like, are you still here? You still coming?
That's pretty funny. You can take off this year. We're good.
Did you really leave your Depends in the locker today? Did we need to do that?
Can you please clean up your mess? You get access to the Champions only practice area. Of course, the tournament practice facility. There is an area for the champions, which does not have access by anyone else, including the media. And you don't have to be out there like where I saw Xander earlier today. You get a lifetime invitation to the Masters. We knew that. Of course, this is the last year Bernhard Longer will play at the age of 67. You get a whole butt ton of points, of course. You get 100 world golf ranking points, 20 more than the players, 30 more than than any signature event, and double that of most regular tour events. You also get 750 FedEx points.
That's fair.
The winner's share of the purse, for instance, Scotty Scheffler got $3.6 million last year. Go back 10 years. Bubba Watson got $1.6 million. 30 years ago, Jose Maria Olazabal won $360,000. 60 years ago, Arnold Palmer won $20,000.
$20,000. Wow.
Yeah, 60 years ago. You get a 5-year major exemption.
Inflation. Yeah.
Of course, we knew that. And that's why Patrick Reed runs out this year after he won in 2018. And then you get a 5-year PGA Tour exemption, of course. And you also get a special tee time every year on Tuesday to bring any guest you want for your practice round. Of course, this year, Scotty brought his mom.
Oh, awesome.
To play around with his mom. So,
that's awesome.
There you go. All the things that you get when you win the Masters.
I did not know that.
I didn't either. I didn't know about the medal, which was like I said, the original trophy that you got.
The locket for your significant other. I think that's
pretty cool, huh?
Pretty cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Wonder if we can find any of those on eBay.
I don't think so. Maybe Danny Willett's ex-wife. I don't know. Who knows?
No.
I don't even know if he has an ex-wife, but whatever.
Wow.
We love Danny Willett.
We do.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we are going to dish on your Tampa Bay Rays and that disaster that went down at George Steinbrenner Field yesterday. And we will ponder the question, good sir, is this field really good for this Rays team and this organization the way it is made up? Very interesting question. Yes. Yeah. Pitching and defense always cheaper than big hitting. So we shall ponder that question. We are brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, where we are right now in the Jeeves Law Group studio in beautiful South Soho, as we call it in South Tampa. The Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. A guy, that's an attorney that will turn down a master's invitation to make sure that your case is settled correctly. How about that? Where do you find those people? Only at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Because if I get a master's invitation, folks, there would be no show today. I can tell you that. Or it'd be coming to you live from Augusta with John Daly and the Hooters.
I'd have to spare everybody to death all over again.
The Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Go to the website, contact them through there, and tell them JP sent you. Not attorney spokesman, offices Tampa and St. Pete. Back at 3. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park. So free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. If you do not have a concierge doctor, what are you doing? Chris Lugo, one of the best in the business. He is my concierge doctor. And if you wake up with a neurovirus and you really don't want to go to an urgent care and you need some anti-nausea medicine, it's nice to know you could just text your concierge doctor. He can call it in, and you can have it delivered to your house if you like, because you need to stay close to a commode. That's just one of the many, many benefits of having a concierge doctor. You need somebody who's going to direct your health. So you could use it in conjunction. Thank you for that. You could use it in conjunction with your insurance, obviously, but have someone there that can take the time to look at all of your blood work, look at your workouts, look at your nutrition, all those things, hormone therapy, if you need testosterone. That's Chris Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Don't leave your health up to an insurance company that cares nothing about you except making a profit. Get someone that really cares about what's going on with your health, and that's BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Chris Lugo. Give them a call. Let them. They'll do a free evaluation for you, consultation to tell you what it's all about. Costs less than you think. That's BAMMC.com. All right. The Rays get blasted yesterday by the Angels. I'm watching the game yesterday. I was doing some work here, and I'm just watching the game, and just the balls are just flying out, not only right field, center field, left field, everywhere. As three different players, Tyler Ward, Mike Trout, and Joe Adell, each hit 2 home runs. Zach Littell got lit up. His nickname is Lit. Like, I don't.
There you go.
If I'm a pitcher, I don't want that to be. I don't want Lit to be my nickname. But anyway, and Zach Littell's been good. He's been really good. He's had 2 bad outings this year. But it begs the question: there have been 13 home runs at Steinbrenner Field this year already. And by the way, when I went to the game the other year, the one that Chris Morrell hit that he certainly thought was a home run, I thought that was gone. There were the one that the knucklehead stole from Morrell, I thought was way gone. So the ball didn't seem to be carrying much to left field, but the winds have been blowing out from left to right field. Mm-hmm. So you get it up in that if you hit one, especially these right-handers, of course we haven't seen a whole lot of left-handed power. Where are you, Brandon Lowe? Lau. You're Low instead of Lau. Get the ball up in the air. Like, where are the lefties? Obviously, Josh Lowe is not playing. He's hurt again, China Doll. So we talked all about the preseason, about the left-hander power of the Rays. You know, this field could be an asset. And what we've seen so far is a lot of right-handers hitting balls that are just getting up in the jet stream. Caminero hit one the other day, a home run that was off his right-handed bat that got up into the jet stream. I'm not sure if I think it was Paul Delgado or maybe it was Dennis Phillips. One of our weather guys was talking about the prevailing winds and said, even in summertime, it's going to get even worse or better, depending on how they take advantage of it. But so far, it hasn't been a good thing, as the Rays have been out-homered 18-8 for the season overall, and 13-6 at George Steinbrenner Field. Now, when you're used to pitching in defense and you're not playing in the Trop, where it's considered a pitcher's park, how do you adjust? And so far, they really haven't. And this offense is averaging 3.58 runs per game. That's all. And that's a year after averaging a franchise low 3.72. This is dreadful offense. And even Eric Neander said it before in spring training. He said, we're hoping to have an average offense. You're hoping to have an average offense. You're knowing that having a great offense was completely out of the question with the roster that you have put together, Eric Neander. With two hands tied behind your back, obviously, with constraints from management that even when you make a trade, you can't add. And this is the biggest problem. If you're making trades, imagine like going out into the baseball world, going to the winter meetings, and you know what your deficiency are, and you have a surplus of pitching, which everybody wants, right? Everybody wants pitching. Everybody wants. So you go out into this market, and normally you would be able to go address your needs, offense, getting some sluggers, and you could trade in the surplus of pitching and get some really good offensive players back. Problem is, those guys make money, and you have to work under these constraints of payroll of $70-80 million, sometimes getting to 90, and we'd love to have that player. How much does he make? Oh yeah, we can't do that. And how many sluggers are you taking off the table in order to make those moves? All of them, basically all of them. So you've got to go out and try to trade for a Mangum or a Meisner or in this case a Christopher Morel, who is terrible. He's terrible, and I don't know if he's ever going to get any better. So you're hamstrung, and this is what you get. This is the offense that you get. And I don't necessarily think it's going to be any better. Yes, they 3 of their 4 outfielders are injured right now, but Josh Lowe didn't do much last year. We're 3 years removed from his great breakout year. And is he ever going to be available? Are we going to have constant injuries with him? Because when he's healthy, he's a hell of a player. There's no question about it. He is one hell of a player. But he's not, and he never is. So, or rarely is. So I watch these games and I'm like, in the Angels series, the Angels, it's not like, this is one of the better teams in the league. They've played 3 series against teams that finished last year in their divisions. And they went scoreless in 22 of the 26 innings against the Angels at home. Scoreless. It's just, that's a lot of goose eggs. That's a lot of goose eggs. And even when in the game they won with the grand slam, they only scored in 7 of the 9 innings.
Well, throw the Rangers series in there.
Yes.
And their top 2 teams in the AL West, the Rangers and the Angels here. Look how you fared against as a whole, as a group.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not. And offensively, it's dreadful. And I don't see it getting any better. And what can they do? Can they go sign JD Martinez, 38-year-old JD Martinez? It's better than what they got. And, God bless Yandy Diaz. Great dude. We love him. But he's making, $11 million a year, $10 million a year. He's a non-power hitting DH who can't run. And you're putting him at the top of the lineup. I just don't get that. You got at some point, you got to inject something into this lineup. Chandler Simpson, obviously a AAA who's still learning to play the outfield. I get it. But you need some spark plugs at the top of the order that is going to change you. If you're going to, at some point you got to transition into playing a lot of small ball. And Yandy Diaz is not small. Now he's small ball in that he hits a lot of singles and, and doubles, but no home run, very rarely home runs. It's just a whole lot of, go up and down the lineup. And, I got news for you. Curtis Mead, who had a great spring, is not going to be the savior. He had a couple of hot games in spring where you got a lot of pitchers that never even make major league rosters. And somehow we think this guy is the answer, putting him third in the freaking, in the lineup. I don't get it. And some of the moves that Kevin Cash is making, taking Aranda out of the lineup, taking Junior Caminero out of the lineup, who, by the way, made a couple of great defensive plays yesterday. And Caminero to me, is your only legitimate hitter. I would never take him out of the lineup or as a defensive replacement, which they did the other night. And Coco Montez, and I know Morel got thrown out of the game. It switched things up, but I just would, I can't. And I think Junior lost 2 at-bats, and one of them would have been the final at-bat of the game. So you got to keep him in. You got to keep him in. And I don't know what Cash is doing. I don't know what this lineup is doing. It looks like a whole lot of mess right now. And then when the pitching fails yesterday, like it did, it gets ugly. Now this happens from time to time, obviously, but here come the Braves, which are off to a terrible start, but they've still got a very, very good roster. And this is going to be a tough, and we got 3 series, Braves, Red Sox, Yankees. I mean, the competition picks up dramatically, and this could get ugly for the Rays. Now, typically we've seen them, especially with their pitching, step up and kind of answer the bell when they play against really good competition. And certainly the Yankees, they've been very competitive against the Yankees. So you would hope that kind of gets them going a little bit, but man, it's been ugly so far. It's been really,
start.
Really ugly. 5-7 again, but 5-7 against 3 basement dweller teams that you've played. Right. I mean, the Rangers are the only decent team you've really played so far.
And that was an ugly series.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't know. Do you think some of this I called it nonsense at the time, some of this talk about changing stadiums and now you're in a strange place and you haven't acclimated to your, a lot of these guys are creatures of habit, their entire habits and their professional routines have all been upended and switched and changed. A lot of these guys are superstitious, and you call that nonsense on the surface, but there might be a little bit of reality to that. I think, I don't know. And then for the pitchers, you're learning to kind of pitch in a new park.
Yeah. That's a thing. I think that's a thing.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think their pitching staff that last year, I think their ERA was like 3.3 at home and 4.4 on the road. I mean, a dramatic difference. Yeah. So they've learned to win in the Trop as a home field advantage, as it should be. But that's dramatic in terms of pitching and defense. So yeah, I think organizationally, this team has been, developed to play in a pitcher friendly stadium, pitching and defense. That's smart. That's really smart. And now that they moved outside, it's a little different. It's hard to, change directions of an organization when something like that happens. And you have to make a dramatic change in where you're playing in a short period of time. Absolutely. That's 100% part of the problem. There's no question about it. But also, baseball is the ultimate game of adjustment. It is the ultimate game of adjustment from pitch to pitch, from at-bat to at-bat, from game to game, from season to season, whatever. But it is the ultimate game of adjustment, and you have to adjust. But to your point, I mean, if you're Kevin Cash, 2-time manager of the year, aren't you sick of this bullshit? Aren't you sick of the stadium stuff? Aren't you sick of all this stuff? And because remember this, folks, we say, oh, a hurricane, how could they? You could have been proactive. Like every other organization, I would think, if I'm sitting there with an obsolete ballpark, I would have had more of a sense of urgency to get a new ballpark and got the deal done in Tampa 7-8 years ago when you had an opportunity to do it, or since then. So, yeah, we can say, oh, nobody predicted a hurricane could take the roof off. Well, really? The fabric roof in Hurricane Alley that's 10 years past its shelf life? Well, actually, you can. And there should have been an urgency, not just from a sense of, hey, we need a new ballpark for the fans and the betterment and revenue and all this other stuff. We got to get this done. But Stu was like, why? I'm cashing checks. I'm making god awful money in this. I pay nothing for the Trop. I get all this revenue sharing money from $60 million a year from other teams. I get central fund revenue. I only have to spend 30% of my revenue. And by the way, these are revenues that Forbes talks about, Sports, all these people that cover these things and do all the analytics say this is what teams get. And so we know about what the revenues are. We're not guessing that the Rays have it around $300 million. I think it's more than that. Yeah. And it's not, and to sit there and just talk about revenue in terms of attendance, well, it's you have this many fans and talk about it. Well, we couldn't spend this much money this year. The payroll is not a year-to-year thing on how many tickets you're selling. If you're running a baseball organization, you're just looking, oh, well, we're not going to sell as many tickets this year. No, payrolls should be planned over 5 to 10 years and should be pretty static on what your revenues are. I mean, the Rays have had revenues into 300 millions for quite some time and have been spending 60 to 70, $80 million on payroll for quite some time. They're consistently in the bottom three in terms of percentage of what you spend. So, don't tell me that, this is a justified payroll this year because you're in a smaller ballpark. That's not the way it works. And attendance does not equal payroll when you're getting $60 million of revenue from other teams in revenue sharing. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So let's keep it honest here about what's going on. The guy has been absolutely filling his pockets for 20 years. It doesn't matter what the attendance is when you get that much revenue sharing and central fund money. And that's why the other owners are pissed. That's why they're pissed. How do I know that? Well, because I've been told that by sources that would know that. And Jeff Passan, Jason Stark, Ken Rosenthal, everybody is in the know has reported this as well. So yeah, we know this stuff. And if I'm a player and if I'm a manager like Kevin Cash, I mean, aren't you like, other teams don't have to do this. Other teams don't have to play in, switch parks in the middle of the year or the middle of the season. I mean, other teams don't have to go through all this ridiculousness that Stu puts them through with the stadium saga. They just get new parks and they move into them and they make more money and they win. That's the way it's supposed to work with owners who can get these things done. So yeah, if there was more of a sense of urgency, of course there wasn't, because Stu was making gobs and gobs of money. And to him, it wasn't about, I don't need a new stadium. What do I need one? Well, maybe because your players and your manager and the organization and the fans and the other owners and everybody else who really cares about this thinks you should have a new stadium so they don't have to give you revenue sharing money anymore because you're actually moving to the middle of the market where you'll make tons more money. Well, yeah, but for him, I don't need it. So don't tell me that's not on ownership. You can sit there and the hurricane, should have had a park 5 years ago.
Wow.
Everybody, that's part of the urgency that you didn't show that everybody else was trying to import to you. But, you don't care. You're just making money. Why do I need a new park? So that's where, you can say if you want, nobody saw this coming. Actually, everybody saw this coming. And that's why there should have been more of an urgency. So that is what it is. We are where we are. And that's why new ownership is sorely needed in so many ways and for so many ways. And when you see this, look, it's one game. I get it. But is it a trend? I mean, do you look at this roster, and even when the injured guys come back, I mean, is Richie Palacio really going to make that much difference? Yeah, I don't think so. Josh Lowe could, if he actually got healthy and it could be the all-star player that he could be, that he showed for one season that he could be. But for the rest of them, no, not really.
The first 12 games. Yeah. No. The first 12 games of the season could certainly be a microcosm of what this team's going to deal with for the rest of the year unless something changes.
Well, I look at the Braves start and I go, that roster's too good to be that bad. I look at the Rays start and I go, the roster's that bad. Offensively, it's that bad. No question about it. You can't score 4 runs a game in Major League Baseball. You're not going to win anything. You're not going to win anything. And it's even with this
maybe
pitching staff. Incredible pitching
Maybe
staff.
the Braves coming to town this weekend. Maybe that'll fix a little bit of what. I swear to God, this thing's on silent. I don't know why my phone is freaking ringing. Swear to God, it's on silent.
I swear to God, it's not.
Stop. Why are you calling me, Stu? I'm not the one talking about you right now.
Well, he's calling me. I just have mine on silent. I've learned.
Maybe the Braves coming into town this weekend and playing so poorly of late will, maybe at least temporarily cure a little bit of what ails you with the Rays. I don't know.
I would hope so. Listen, it's going to be a great atmosphere at Steinbrenner Field. Weather's going to be nice. The Braves are coming in. There'll probably be a lot of Braves fans there. But it would be nice for the Rays to win this series. It really would. I think they need it for a lot of different reasons. But I'm scared to death. I think, the chances are the Braves are going to get well. They're going to get well. This ain't they faced the Padres and the Dodgers early on, 2 really good baseball teams, way better than the Rays.
Yeah.
So this is hopefully the Rays pitchers are on their they have great stuff and they'll adjust too. They know that there's a short porch in right field and they got to keep the ball down and get ground balls because you get the ball in the air to right field and the hitters obviously know they're going to try, even the right-handers. So we'll see.
And for those of you bitching about ticket prices, I am right now on vividseats.com and I'm looking at lower level first baseline section 102 tickets. I'm sorry, 103 for $22 each.
There you go.
Standing room only for $8 against the Braves this weekend. So
there you go. It'll be packed. It'll be full. And those are, by the way, those are secondary market prices. People have already paid way more for those tickets, and that's just where the market's at right now, which is interesting. So I think a lot of people got shell shocked early on when they went try to buy tickets before the season, but get back into the market
for opening week. Yeah. I mean, sure. Those are going to be nuts.
Get back in the market. There's great seats to be had for low prices. Our good friend Paulo Tini, who I keep inviting. Yeah, I want him to come into the studio because last time he came into the studio, he brought me all this great food. I'm like, Paulo, don't just be hanging out. You're invited in here. Bring me some lasagna, will you, for God's sakes?
I'm going to send him my address. Maybe I'll get a package in the mail.
He says Cash is a good coach, but he's trying to scramble with what he has. That's for damn sure, bro. I mean, he's trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shiz. That'd be like you trying to make a good veal with some spoiled ground beef, bro. That ain't working, right? Our entire roster are maybe bench players on other teams. That's true. I mean, you name one player on this Rays team that would start for the Yankees or the Braves. I would say, Brandon Lau, not the way he's playing now. Maybe Caminero. He's a hell of a hitter. But after that, what do we got? The catchers are 1 for 37. So let's scratch Danny Jansen and Ben Rohrfed off. Taylor Walls would not start for any other team in this league. Maybe I don't even know if he'd start for their AAA teams. Aranda, no. Aranda, I think he's going to be a good hitter, but as a first baseman, he needs to have more power, I would think. And the outfield, we won't even begin talking about the outfield. So, yeah. No, you're 100% right, Paulo. 100% right. The Last Waltz Media says having Yandy leading off is beyond me. I run faster than Yandy, and I deal with Achilles tendonitis every other month. He's not wrong. Too. Yeah, I think so. I think he does too. He's not wrong. Yeah. Rick says, Eric, the GM. Hey, JD Martinez, will you take a 1-year deal for $200K and some Burger King coupons?
Poor guys.
Paulo says they might win 60.
Wow.
They might win 60 games this year. Yeah. I think they'll win a little bit more than that, but you might not be wrong. Michael LaRue says the Live Golf sports washing by Saudis isn't working because I don't hear anything about it. I couldn't tell you if it's on TV. What a waste of $1 billion. But they don't care.
Yeah, that's they don't see it that way.
They don't care. It's just they have so much money. Although, the price of oil is good. By the way, how does the price of oil go down almost, $50 a barrel, $60 a barrel? And the gas prices that have come down, but they haven't come down by half.
Not that much.
Now, the oil goes up like $1 a barrel and prices go through the roof. A gas price, like the next day. Shocking development.
And I never understood that about gas prices. I guess it's a commodity. It's not necessarily a tangible product these days because, when you get your delivery, when the gas station gets your delivery of gas, I assume they don't pay for it up front, right? I'm guessing they pay for it based almost like consignment. I don't know how that works. I've never owned a gas station, but I don't know how gas prices at the gas station can go up and down in a week where it's the same gas we had last week. Why does it cost more now? Why isn't it the same as it was 2 weeks ago when you got the delivery? Like, I don't understand that.
I don't either.
Like, shouldn't that tank that's in your ground, that should be a price of that, whatever you paid for it. That's how much it cost us, right? You give it your markup, and it's $3 a gallon until that tank runs out. And then you get another shipment. Oh, did that one cost you a little more? Okay, cool. Now it's $3.10 a gallon for us, whatever. But I don't understand how it goes up and down every single day overnight for the same gas that I paid a different price for.
Yeah,
last
and
week.
sometimes like by 20 and 25 cents. It used to move like a penny every day or 2 pennies.
Yeah.
Now it's like 25, 30 cents overnight. Like, wait, I just paid $2.85 yesterday.
Right.
Now it's $3.15. What the hell just happened?
I have literally filled my motorcycle tank up with super premium at night, got home, filled it. I always fill it before I come home, parked my bike in the garage, woke up the next morning, went to the same gas station and paid 30 cents more a gallon. Same pump, at the same pump.
Do you have to fill up every time you take a ride? How big is
No.
your gas tank? Like big as my bladder?
It's a 5-gallon tank.
So how are you filling up the next day?
No, in my car. I'm sorry. In my car,
your
like
car.
the next day
All right.
in my car.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't know. Somebody explain to me. Michael LaRue says the Rays better boat race Atlanta tonight. The Braves walked it off last night in the 11th at 2 a.m. after a long rain delay. Oh, they won. So they just stay hot. Come right to the ballpark. That is crazy. So by the time, I don't know, where were they playing last night? I forget. By the time they get on the plane, I mean, they must have probably got here about 6 o'clock in the morning. But then again, it's baseball.
They were at home.
Oh, so yeah, it's an hour flight.
Phillies. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, I wonder. Yeah, I mean, even if they're coming from Atlanta, they would get on the plane right after the game.
Yeah.
And then they would, and then they get here. You know, they probably still didn't go to bed till like 6 a.m.
No, they need to save a little money. They should just take the bus.
Yeah, but then again, the Rays have that'd be the Rays. At what point when they go play the Marlins, Stu will be like, "All right, bus is out front."
Bus is out front. Bathroom shut down too in the back of the bus. Don't use it. It's out of order.
There's a little grab your brown bag as you exit the gazillion-dollar facility here and get on the bus to Miami.
Oh my Lord! So Stu's become like, I know we've joked about this before. The owner of that chick that owned the Indians in Major League shuts off the hot water.
The Molly once turned off the cable in the clubhouse. True story.
What the crap?
Yep. Yeah. God, we've had some real winners as owners in this marketplace.
Turned off the cable.
John Hill says refineries are changing over from winter to summer grades, so lower inventory. It's just a few weeks. John Hill has more knowledge about shit. That dude. Like, I knew he would. Somehow I knew he would chime in with to tell us why gas prices have not come down more. There you go. B says July and August there will be renderings. Get ready for the $600 million major renovation. They're doing $600 million renovation at Oriole Park also, which actually has a much better location at Oriole Park. So you're still on this $600 million renovation of Tropicana Field. The only thing I will say about that is it makes way more sense than just pouring $100 million into it for 3 years, to fix the Trop.
Well, if they spend $600 on it, how long are they going to stay in it? How long does that push back into it?
Yeah, I guess the ratio is actually probably about the same. Now, it's just again, B, it's not. It's the wrong location.
It's already there.
And this is like when they announced they're going to build the new state of St. Pete, right next to the old one. You're going what? You're going to spend.
We're going to double down on it.
30 years have told us this is a shitty location, but damn it, we're going to put another $2 billion into this.
Yeah, doubling down on the first mistake.
For those of you people who think that the greatest thing Stu ever did was pull out of this deal. Honestly, that was the greatest thing. It's in terms of what's best for baseball here. That's the greatest thing he ever did was pull out. Or net went. I don't think he was ever going to build it anyway. But we dodged the bullet. We totally dodged the bullet. Yeah. Daniel Rivera says, B, it's not happening at the Trop. It's just, I don't see. No. Has been in what's Nathan Elliott telling you here? Has been invited to the Advent training facility on April 25th for the welcome to the crew. It is to welcome whoever the Bucs select in round 1 of the 2025
Oh, wow.
NFL draft. Well, I will tell you this, Nathan. I'm working on having a remote at Riveters for your draft gating party. So hopefully the Thursday NFL draft first round where the Bucs pick 19th, we will be over there at Riveters. We're going to work that out today. So be meeting with those great folks over there.
Very
so you
cool.
haven't been to Riveters, go check that out. And we're working on having a bunch of them pregame before Rays games there. So is that okay with you, Tim, if we move the show to 5 to 7 at night?
In the morning?
No, at night. Yeah,
On
5 to
what day?
7 in the morning. We'll get it. We may give you the day off. We may give you the day off.
What day of the week is this?
One
Is
may
this for
be
the
on
draft?
Monday. No, for Rays baseball too, and Lightning games too. We got Lightning playoffs coming up, so we're gonna do some remotes at Riveters to get everybody out to for the watch party. So all that information coming up soon. We'll do it all for you. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into the Bucs, Nathan Elliott. We're going to talk some draft. Jason Light spoke with the media yesterday and told us all who he's taking at number 19. We got had a press conference and everything, told the whole league what's going, the entire draft strategy of what the Bucs are going to do. That's why they held press conferences, right? To get the information out there. Yes, we have it all for you right here. I got my notes, so I know exactly what's going on. So we'll do that when we come back. We are brought to you by On-Site Construction and Restoration. If you are thinking about redoing your home or still need some restoration work after the hurricane, On-Site is the place to go. On-Site Construction, FL.com is their website. They've been doing this for 25 years. Jason Fawcett, you heard him. He came into our studio. We'll get him in again. Big hockey fan, loves coaches hockey. But more than anything, he builds great properties, commercial or residential, whatever you need. They are committed to getting things done on time and on budget, which is rare for any construction company, but they know how to do it. They have great experience in it. And when you're restoring your home, it's a lot of different things that pop up with an existing building that they have been through. They have the experience. They know how to handle these issues. Other places, not so much. So go with a local company that's been around for a long, long time, has the experience, and has the reputation. Read all their 5-star reviews at onsiteconstructionfl.com. Back in 3. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, are you going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show? It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. Summer is coming. Do not get caught with your unit unprepared. Your AC unit, of course. The awesome folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC have a special going on right now. You get a free 1-year maintenance package with any purchase of a new unit. They have special 60-month financing as well, so you don't need a huge chunk up front. Third Generation has an impeccable reputation built over 30 years of doing business. They do plumbing, AC, mechanical work, anything you need around the house. They are trusted folks. Go to the website and read the 5-star reviews. Deidre said, great company that always arrives timely. We have used them for our AC both in home and business and have been Very happy. The staff is knowledgeable and professional. I would recommend Third Generation again and again. So give Third Generation a call at 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Masters Friday, brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. It's Diamond Days going on in April, 20% off all diamonds there, the already low price. If you're looking to pop the question, you got to go to the Gold and Diamond Source. Great prices, great selection. They have their diamond savings plan, so you can bring your diamond back in a couple of years and get exactly what you paid for it and a trade-in. Very rare in the business, and then you can upgrade. That's a great idea. And if you want to put it on credit, you can do that. You can finance it 5 years, no interest. That's a good deal. So for $83 a month, you can get a $5,000 diamond that's going to look sweet on your honey's hands. By the way, you got to get a real diamond. Don't do that to any of that fake stuff. When she finds out you got a fake diamond, you'll have a fake marriage. That's why that's going to.
You know what fake diamonds are good for, JP?
What's that?
Fake honeys.
That's right. That's right. That you're going to get.
I mean, I would know.
Coming from a man who has had experience in the fake honey world. So, yes, get a real diamond at the Gold and Diamond Source. 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
You want a quick Masters update?
I do want a quick Masters
update. We've got some movement on the leaderboard here as Justin Rose dropped a shot, bogeyed 5. Ludwig Oberg has gained a stroke. So Rose now at 7 under, leads Oberg at 5 under. He's 1 under for the day. Bryson has moved to 4 under. He is 1 under for the day.
Birdie number 2, par 5 down the hill.
And also, you know, I always make it a habit. Usually on the majors, I do this. I didn't do this yesterday. I don't know why, but I always look at the bottom of the leaderboard on Thursday, and I didn't do this yesterday. Did you see that we had a score of 90 posted at the Masters?
No, I did not.
Take a look at this scorecard.
I didn't know I was playing.
Take a look at this scorecard, and I'll tell you who it was because we know him.
Ooh. Well, it looks familiar. I can tell you that. Looks very familiar. That's my card the last 12 times I've played.
An 18
I've
over
seen that before,
90.
yes. Especially the back nine. You can see where the transfusions kicked in at 11.
Yeah. 2 pars, 3 bogeys, and 4 doubles on the on the second 9 at Augusta. This is the scorecard of one Nick Dunlap, as he posted a 90 yesterday.
Nick Dunlap. I was going to say, was this one of the older guys that's been around for a while? But those guys, what the hell happened there?
I know, he must have been drunk or sober. I don't know.
I think did he get injured?
I mean, the whole 18? I mean, he didn't even start strong.
He looked, well, the back nine, woof.
Yeah.
I think he got a bad pimento cheese sandwich at the turn.
I mean, he shot a 43. You're 7 over on the front 9.
47 for a professional golfer?
On the back, yeah.
Holy shizbang. Look at that.
Man.
I
mean, it's bad for him, but I mean, I like it for the rest of us. So, yeah.
So I'm trying to think, he got in because he won where? Where did he win?
Oh, I don't remember where his last. He may not be invited back, though.
I don't know what's worse, shooting 90 or peeing in Rays Creek, but I don't think either one of you are coming back anytime soon.
And especially because he's so young. I mean, he's 21 years old. You know.
Yeah. I think he won and got in for a win, but
he won the American Express last year. So there you go.
Rick says the Yankees will come here like they're visiting their kids while the ex-wife and new boyfriend get to stay at your old house.
That's the truth.
Like if you're the Rays, if you play for the Rays, like when you go out, do people laugh? Like when you're among the other teams that like have real payrolls and stuff, do you get laughed at?
I mean, it's not your fault.
He pays for the Rays.
I know. Contract.
I know, but it's like, you know, they don't. It's like they're not. They don't get what other teams get, especially with the Yankees. Like if you're the Yankees, you swagger in. But how weird is that going to be? They're going to have to go to the visiting clubhouse. Maybe that's a point. Maybe the Rays kind of rub it in, like, oh, I got your locker today.
Wouldn't it be funny?
Judge, guess who's in your locker today? Me. You could have we decorated the visiting clubhouse with a picture of the Trop without a roof.
So y'all can see it.
So you guys can see why you're in the visiting clubhouse today.
Wouldn't it be funny if the Yankees negotiated the use of the stadium, but they get to use the home locker room when they come to town?
That would be a problem. That would be a problem. And you think about it, that's where, if I'm Hal Steinbrenner, that's where I really and you I wonder how this works. Because you have to have certain things for a Major League Baseball clubhouse for the visiting team. You can't just totally crap on it, but you can, but seriously, this is a weird deal. So you're coming, so you're like it's more like you're you're divorced guys and she got the house and you're coming over like you're coming into town for Christmas and you got to stay in the guest room. In the guest room while the dude who's banging your ex-wife is in your big master bedroom that you built. It's kind of like it's more like that.
Very much so like that. That's awesome.
Oh my God. That's good. That's going to be a weird deal. They get these small lockers and all this other crap. And like, ooh, here's a picture of the Trop without the roof on. Like somebody needs to explain to me why they hung that picture up there. I got to know.
I can't think of a reason. Like I can't think of a viable reason why you would do that in the visitors' locker room.
In the visitors' locker, somebody had to, okay, let's get a picture. Now we have to send it to the printer to blow it up.
Have it mounted.
Frame it. We got to frame it. And now we're going to mount it. Like that was somebody made a conscious decision. Very much so to do that. And I have to know why.
And somebody had to get approval to pay for it because that's not cheap.
Well,
for them, it's a drop in the bucket for an organization, but still the Rays had to pay for it. Somebody had to pay for it.
And by the way, the Rays are not paying $15 million. The Rays organization. I don't know this for sure, but it's the the city of St. Petersburg has to provide a Major League Baseball stadium. So the $15 million rent, I would think is coming from the city. I don't think the Rays are paying for that. That would be my guess, but I'm going to try to find out because that would be public record.
Unless they made some sort of arrangement to split it or something, because of the circumstances. There's probably something in the lease agreement that outlines who pays for that.
Well, it does, and the St. Petersburg city of St. Pete has to provide the stadium. So if they have to spend $15 million to play somewhere else, I would think. Trust me, I guarantee you Stu Sternberg ain't writing that check.
No.
That's for sure. Randy Arozarena batting 191. Oh. I think he's had a couple of home runs at least. John Hill said the pros were asked how many strokes would a weekend guy need at Augusta National. Most stated 24 to 42 over par. Well, there you go. Nick Dunlap.
I believe it. Yeah.
Nick Dunlap. Now you know. Although I'll say, and obviously they don't play from where the pros play from, but Johnny Gerber has played there. Well, he's a pro, so it's probably not good. But I have friends that have played there, and they come back and say it's not super difficult because it's not set up like the Masters. The greens are not running it. I don't think they consistently have them running it 14 on the stem.
Not for the members.
For the members. And you're not playing from 7,500 yards like the pros are, 7,600, whatever they're playing from now. And it's kind of, if you're playing that from 6,200 yard tees, I would think it wouldn't be that difficult because the fairways are fairly wide, a lot of them.
Right.
I'm not saying it's easy, but it's not like what these guys are going through. It's a very different golf course that the members play.
And it's been opened up a little bit because of the hurricane and stuff. They've lost quite a few trees since last year. So there's a lot more open space than there used to be.
Yeah. Michael LaRue saying faceoff specialist Luke Glendenning is out for the rest of the regular season. That's a problem. That's a problem because the Lightning have not been great on faceoffs. And when it comes down to, late in the game, you need those big face-off wins. Glendenning's been big. By the way, Gensel back at practice today, so that's good. We'll talk about the Bolts here in just a minute. Trying to get away.
Spent a little time here in Dallas before he joined the Lightning.
Yeah. Is that where he lost his teeth?
I'm sure he did that long ago, probably with the Grand Rapids Griffins. It's probably where he lost his teeth.
Yeah. To Mike H says, it seems like the lighting at night at Steinbrenner is not good enough. I see a lot of players searching for pop-ups, and that's coming from a man that's been stabbed 5 different times. What?
Yeah, I've been stabbed 5 times.
Yeah.
What, we stab brothers?
Yeah, I guess you are. Which is, I think, the most crazy thing I've ever heard in my life. When I was at the game the other night, there were 2 balls lost in the lights, and one of them that went to pop up to left field, and we're sitting 7 rows back, so it's a pretty, I guess, similar vantage point from the players. And the ball just disappeared. Like I've never seen before. It just disappeared. It went up into the night sky, and it was kind of cloudy that night, and it just disappeared. I totally lost it. And everybody in the section, I'm like, did anybody see that? Because it went up, and we lost it, and so did the players.
Take that, flat earthers.
Yeah, and it went down. It went down the right. One went down the right field line. That Trout lost as well, and you couldn't see it. So yeah, it is definitely the high fly balls, especially in the infield, are very, very difficult to see. I think that's part of it too, as well. All right, let's talk some Buccaneers, shall we?
Please.
So Jason Licht yesterday had his press conference, the pre-draft press conference, and I was listening to Rick Stroud's podcast, and he finally, and I didn't know this, he said that it's mandated by the league. Like they have to they go meet the media a couple weeks before the draft. So every general manager is supposed, I guess this is to just, there's certain things that the league mandates for press. And obviously it's to keep the cycle going, to keep, people writing about stuff, people talking about stuff. And because I've been attending these things for, the 28 years I've been covering the Bucs, and I'm like, they're the most ridiculous things ever. It's like, what the hell is Jason Licht going to tell us about the draft? He's not going to tell you anything. And if he does, he should be fired. And so yesterday was a whole lot of gobbledygook about, philosophies and things like that, which most of these questions we've asked and been answered before. He reiterated yesterday that he believes that Chris Braswell is going to have a breakout season. He said he had fun. Yeah, absolutely. And they said he had fun with a lot of the local guys that they brought in the other days. They brought in the big Watson guy from Florida, 464 pounds, which is intriguing. Somebody's going to draft that guy. That guy. No question about it.
Everything I've read says he can play. So,
he's limited, obviously. You want to run stuffer in the middle. There you go. Maybe he's the answer to the tush push. I don't know.
He can play goalie.
He's really hard to move. He's really, really hard to move. And he's at what, 424, I think 424 pounds. And you might be able to get him to lose a little bit. You might not want him to, but as a role player, sure. Absolutely. Short yardage. I think he has some value.
Yeah.
So, but we didn't learn anything from Jason Licht yesterday. We're still at the same. He did talk about the lack of depth at corner, which is apparent. Everything, we can look at this team. We've seen it, and we understand where the needs are. They're going to draft a corner. I've said this many times. The first 3 picks are probably going to be edge rusher, linebacker, and corner in whatever order that's going to be. At least 3 out of the first 4 are going to be. And there's talk about, hey, if there's a wide receiver there that falls in the draft, no, they're not taking a wide receiver at 19 because there's going to be some really good edge rushers at that position, and it's the obvious need of your team. Well, you just signed Hassan Reddick. Well, for 1 year. By the way, the Bucs have created a lot of cap space recently, like almost $60 million. Which begs the question, like, are they going to make a move, like a major move? Now they've got
a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Now they got to sign Gedeke, which is going to be significant. Who else am I thinking? They got to
sign Mike again.
We got to sign Mike again, but he's already on the books for $20 million. So, right. He's not going to get more than that. So that's kind of, a wash. But I'm talking about, to add to the payroll. It tells me that they may be looking at somebody waiting for the draft to hit and see what happens, what transpires, and it's maybe part of their strategy. So if they, I'm just throwing a name out there, Trey Hendrickson, which obviously is going to cost a lot of money. Now I know you just signed Hassan Reddick, so, but you can't have enough at the position. I'm not saying this is what they're doing.
Well, and he was signed to a 1-year, very team-friendly deal too.
Right. So, what I'm wondering what the move is. So, and they were going to do this anyway. So maybe it's just to sign some of their guys, get some of these deals done, and keep the continuity going, which is great. But I just think it's interesting that we'll see what happens in the draft, and then maybe they go make a move like that or something of the sort. So I know this. I'm very excited about this draft class because Tim Ham has a statistic for you kids out here today that I thought was very interesting. The floor is yours, my friend.
Yes. So, and this is, of course, because I had to find out what the source was. Well, the source is the Bucs, so I'm assuming they did their own homework on this. But it's an impressive statistic for Jason Licht, nonetheless. During Jason Licht's tenure over the last 11 years, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are number 1 in the NFL in games started and snaps played by their draft picks taken in rounds 1 through 5.
How about that?
Yep.
How about that?
So, in other words, in rounds 1 through 5, Jason Licht doesn't miss for the most part. He hits more times than all the other league teams do. So.
And remember, folks, most of that, a lot of that has come in the last 4 or 5 years. He got markedly better at drafting when Bruce Arians got here too, and in that group, I think, and it's just an evolution of learning what to do and how to do it. So absolutely, I think that's great. And look, they're in a great position right now, and if they've got cap room, they've got already have a great roster. They've got the 4th best offense last year and bringing everybody back. Now, they've added 4 impact players in the last 4 drafts, at least 4. So if they can get 4 impact players in this draft class, I mean, impact players like they've done the last couple of years, and they've got more cap room, this should be a Super Bowl roster. And I think it's already very close, and it's going to get better in the draft. You would think history would tell you that. So very excited. And then they may be able to add that odd veteran, after the draft that may be out there right now that hasn't got a whole lot of looks, and to just kind of solidify some of the needs that they have at corner, inside linebacker, somewhere along there. So I think he's got a lot of runway and assets to work with, and I'm excited to see where we stand in about 4 weeks. It's going to be really cool. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Tito's going to join us. Jeff Fitoff's going to join us to talk some fantasy football. I'm going to
sterilize that microphone after that.
Are we? Lysol. It's about time to do that. I'm starting to think about, after last year's runner-up finish, I need to make more money. So we'll talk some fantasy football and also maybe a little bit of draft and all that cool kind of stuff. When we come back, Third Generation Plumbing and AC. Those are the folks that will get your unit right for the summer. Do not let your unit not be right for the summer.
About my unit.
Yes. That means it has to be serviced. Means you got to have the coils dusted off. All right. That means you got to have your drain cleaned. That means you have to have all your wires tested. That's what they do when they come in and check out that AC unit. Make sure it's tip-top condition for the hot, hot summer that's about to come here in Tampa. So go to Third Generation Plumbing and AC and Mechanical. They'll do just about anything in the house you need. ThirdGenerationPlumbing.com is the website. So go there and contact them. Tell them JP sent you. Back in 3. Summer is coming. Do not get caught with your unit unprepared. Your AC unit, of course. The awesome folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC have a special going on right now. You get a free 1-year maintenance package with any purchase of a new unit. They have special 60-month financing as well, so you don't need a huge chunk up front. Third Generation has an impeccable reputation built over 30 years of doing business. They do plumbing, AC, mechanical work, anything you need around the house. They are trusted folks. Go to the website and read the 5-star reviews. Deidre said, great company that always arrives timely. We have used them for our AC both in home and business and have been very happy. The staff is knowledgeable and professional. I would recommend Third Generation again and again. So give Third Generation a call at 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. I was just watching a little online video. Willie Adamas talking about why he couldn't hit the try. Couldn't see the ball.
As long as it was that kind of video you were watching.
So, no, right there. Willie Adamas talking about couldn't see the ball at the try.
We don't need to scroll through your
Can't
history.
see the ball at George Steinbrenner Field. So I guess it's not as big a difference as we.
It's all the same, right?
That's just what I'm talking about. I think when Rays players leave the organization and go to like real organizations, like Kevin Kiermaier talked about going to the Blue Jays and other places, and they like, wow, they get this, they get that. They have a stadium where you can actually see the ball and it doesn't hit the catwalks. Like, wow.
Their stadium doesn't have catwalks?
Oh my God! Well, they actually spend money on hitters and stuff like that. Like, wow, that's unbelievable. Yeah.
You mean the league doesn't have an $80,000 a year cap for outfielders? That's what I've been told my whole career.
Hey, let's get an outside. I want to get an outside perspective from the great Jeff Fitoff, Tito, who joins us now.
What's up, Tito?
How you guys doing?
Good. What are your thoughts when you hear Tampa Bay Rays? What do you think about? What do you think about?
The first thing I think about is I wish they were still the Devil Rays. I like that better. But also,
I agreed.
Yeah,
agreed.
That's one of it. But then
you don't like the sunburst logo,
right? Yes. The first thing I think is that I feel like they're cheap. It's a cheap organization. They somehow, though, magically they'll make the playoffs quite often, which is very impressive. Like I will sit here and say they're stupid for being as cheap as they are, but then also the fact they turn around and make the playoffs, and they seem like a team that, to me, that's like they're content with that. You know, they're not going to win. They're not going out there going to outspend other teams trying to get the World Series. They're not going to go out and try to get Soto or Otani or somebody like that. But as long as they're in the mix playing meaningful games, I think that's all they care about. But this whole stadium thing is such a mess. You've been all over it, but
Yeah.
I hate when you have owners that won't spend the necessary money. Like if you're going to be in the game, be in the game.
Yeah.
And it's like if Major League Baseball could have a do-over, would they still put someone in Tampa? Would they put a team in Tampa? Or would they go somewhere else? Like with Tampa with this owner, I think they want to get out of it.
Well, the market's great. It's a great market.
It is.
It's the 10th largest market. It's, and Orlando's right down the road, the 15th largest market. They're not going to leave it for television reasons and, network television packages, which they're working on. They're not going to leave the market. It's just, this is what I always say this, the three most important things in professional sports are ownership. It's like real estate.
Yeah.
It's everything flows from the top. And we've had two horrific owners in terms of, and I give Sternberg all the credit in the world for winning on a shoestring budget, but he's the one that has the shoestring budget. He's the one that limits it because they have money to spend. They just don't spend it. Right. He puts it in his pocket. And if you're going to get in the game of professional sports, you're given a monopoly of an entire market. All right. You have, I believe, a responsibility to not use it as an ATM. You need to put the money back into the team to win. That's what Jeffrey Vinnick does. That's what the Glazers have done. That's what all good sports owners do. Don't get in the business of owning a sports team to make money and pay for college for your kids. That's not what this is about. So anyway, let's talk some fantasy football, shall we?
Yes, let's do that.
Please.
Because I'm like, why are we talking fantasy football in April? Because you guys, you fantasy football freaks, are working on this stuff already, right? What's going on?
So, like, if you remember when fantasy football first got really popular, one of the things people loved about it was they were the GM, they were the owner. It was like their chance to show their skills as a team manager, team developer, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it's evolved now to more and more. You're seeing more and more dynasty leagues come up now, where you have a first year draft of veterans and whatnot, and then every year, I mean, your team is your team. And you can do like a 4-round rookie draft or a 5-round rookie draft and enhance your teams in that way. And so Chad Rink, my co-host on Fantasy Football Island, we went through last night position by position in the quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, and we talked about like which ones we liked, which ones we didn't really like, which teams needed, like which players needed to have a really good fit for an organization, which ones were like fit proof, where it doesn't matter where they go, they're going to produce. And so because you see more and more of these leagues come up now, where like a week after the NFL draft, they do their dynasty rookie draft. And, because that takes it next level as far as ownership goes of a fantasy football team, is that now all of a sudden in a dynasty situation, the draft, this 4-round or 5-round rookie draft is the only place you can really improve your team.
Yeah. Interesting. So what were some of your results? What were your top guys?
Yeah, we're not. Neither one of us really, like most NFL people would tell you, they're not that enthralled with this the quarterback class. Cam Ward's going to go number 1 overall to Tennessee, but with quarterbacks though, and especially in this year's class, and it's happened before though, but the fit is what you really have to look at with these quarterbacks because if you think back, JP, and this, when the Dolphins got Marino, like he was the 6th quarterback taken in that draft, and he went to the perfect situation. An already established team with a Hall of Fame head coach, and he didn't have to come in there and play behind a poor offensive line with no weapons to throw to. And so I think you're seeing a lot of that this year as far as the quarterback class goes, where their value will not be based on which order they go in the draft. It'll be who's the best
where
fit.
they go.
Yeah. And so like there, you can get, there's a guy like Jackson Dart. Depending if he goes to Pittsburgh, I like him quite a bit. The kid from Ole Miss, because you've got established ownership, you've got a stable franchise. And so guys like that go. I like Will Howard. I know Will Howard for Ohio State had his flaws this year, but if he goes to a situation like, say, if Minnesota would take him, or San Francisco would take him, or again Pittsburgh in that one, if he goes to a team like that where he doesn't have to necessarily start right away, but there is a path for him to become the starter, and you got offensive geniuses like in San Francisco, Minnesota, he can make a big impact there. And so that's what I'm going to look for in the draft to see where the quarterbacks go. But as far as I'm concerned, if I'm drafting in these things, I'm not necessarily looking for Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders. I'm going to wait a little while and see who's got the best possible fit.
So I'm seeing a couple of things here. Of course, over there at Athlon Sports, I write for the Steelers and the Browns, and I write for the whole AFC North up there. But of course, the talk is around the Steelers and their quarterback situation as Aaron Rodgers continues to hold the NFL hostage, as he often does. But number one, I've started to see a lot of things with the draft stock falling for Shedeur Sanders for whatever reason. That Jackson Dart might actually be the second quarterback taken in the draft.
I agree.
And he might even fall off. And you know what? I think he's better than Shedeur. I think he might be better than Cam Ward. I don't know. I don't like any of these quarterbacks, to be honest with you. But I watched a lot of Jackson Dart the last couple of years at Ole Miss. I really like the kid. But the biggest thing for me is people aren't talking about Will Howard. But he came out yesterday. I don't know if you covered this over at the Fan, Tito. I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
He proclaimed himself as the best quarterback in the NFL draft this year. Now, come on. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, first of all, he's going to say that. Any quarterback, you ask any one of those top 4 or 5 quarterbacks, they're going to say it. They're going to say they're the best one. Same with any position in the NFL.
Right.
If you ask somebody who's like, a top 10 potential coming in as far as his position goes, and Will Howard kind of qualified with that by saying, look, of course, I'm going to say I'm the best. I've got confidence. And when it comes to like Shedeur saying, I think Sanders has got a higher ceiling than Dart, but he also has a lower floor. And that's and as far as Sanders dropping, it reminds me a lot, not totally, it's not exact replica of this, but when CJ Stroud, when the news came out before the draft that he had a terrible Wonderlic score.
Yeah.
And that was, and teams were trying, there was talk about him sliding down in the draft as well. We never know where this information comes from. This could be a team that really wants Shedeur Sanders, like the Saints, putting this out, saying, "Oh, he's doing poorly in interviews. He's rubbing people the wrong way." You never know who's putting the information out there. I mean, the CJ Stroud thing worked out okay. I'm not saying Sanders will have the same kind of success, but I don't know who's always putting it out there. There's always these unnamed sources that say like, "Hey, I heard he didn't interview well. He seemed very arrogant and things like that." And so it's hard to tell where it's going to go on that. And if a team sees Sanders and likes him, they might trade up for him and take him in one of the top 5 picks. But it would not surprise me to see him slide back to the end of the first round. But you talked about Pittsburgh. If he's still there when Pittsburgh picks at 21, it would not surprise me in the least if they took Sanders.
No, I wouldn't either. And the whole talk about him sliding, and we don't know where all this information is coming from.
Right.
It reminds me going back to 2018. Remember the 2018 quarterback draft?
Oh, yeah.
Lamar Jackson. How all of these rumors came out around the right about now in 2018, with a couple of weeks to go before the draft, maybe a little bit sooner, that, oh my God, Lamar Jackson wants to change positions. He wants to be a wide receiver now. And all of the agents of the other quarterbacks like Baker, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, all of them were putting these rumors out there so that he would fall. And he did. He fell to, what, 32? Or 31, way at the tail end of the draft. And so it worked, but none of it was true. And you just don't know until the actual night of the draft and where these guys are going to go. We know Cam's going to Tennessee at number 1. We know that. Who knows what the Browns are going to do to screw up number 2, right? There's no telling. Giants at 3. I just don't like any. In a perfect world, I don't think any of these guys are first-round material quarterbacks, but we'll see.
If they came out in last year's class with the talent they had at quarterback, I mean, none of these guys are going to be, Daniels. None of them are going to be like, what Bo Nix did or what Penix might do this year. They're not going to be that way this year. I can't believe. But JP, get back to the question though about like the running back and receiver classes are both very deep, and you get a lot of value on that in dynasty drafts. It'll be a situation again like if the Broncos jump on Hampton with their first pick. I love him. Depending on where Janty goes, if he goes to the Bears or the Raiders, that'll depend on where I rank him as well. But there's a lot of talent.
Not going to the Cowboys?
Well, he could. I'm saying he might be taken before that because the Raiders and Bears both pick before
They'll
the Cowboys.
Go before 12, yeah.
And so he might if the But look, if the Cowboys take him, I'll love him there because he'd be the number 1 back there.
Yeah.
If the Cowboys end up waiting and taking like Henderson or Quinshon Judkins, who from Ohio State, who visited with Dallas recently, they took a photo with Jerry Jones and everything. If they take one of those guys in the second round, I'd love that value there.
I'd be okay with that too. I don't think the Genty will be there at 12. If he is, I hope they take him. If not, they can fall back. The Cowboys aren't great with their draft picks, not just managing them with who they pick and where, but like they haven't had a 4th round draft pick in the last 3 years. They traded one away for Trey Lance. They traded one away for Mingo from the Panthers, the wide receiver this year. And they get things somehow backwards all the time, and I have zero faith in the Cowboys. But yeah, to your point though, Ashton Genty I think would be great, and he might be the only running back I would take in the first round though.
Hampton's pretty good. I like him, his size and speed
Yeah.
combination there. But when I look at I'm curious to see the running backs where they go, because obviously last year was the success of Saquon Barkley and
Yeah.
Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs, and those guys all was almost like a resurgence of running backs as far as production and the number of touches they got.
Yeah.
And so
Like it matters again, right? Running backs
maybe,
matter again.
You look at you say, oh, Saquon Barkley, you get your next Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was in a perfect world going to that Eagles team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry, you've got a running quarterback who you also have to watch. And so he benefited from that as well. Gibbs with Detroit, they had a great scheme, and he was able to share carries a little bit still, so he didn't get worn down. But he had a fantastic year for that really good Lions offense. So you got to be careful that. I'm curious to see how NFL teams will view it when the draft rolls around.
Yeah, it's weird because you look at Bucky Irving going in the fourth round.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody would go, Jesus, we got to go get. So I wonder if the emergence of the running back, in the league, this kind of shift back towards the importance of the running back, if that does, teams do start putting a little bit more importance on the draft. Because you look at it two ways. You say, I could still get Bucky in the fourth,
right?
Or it's like, you know what, I should have taken Bucky in the second. So maybe we screwed up here. Maybe we should put a little bit more importance. Because honestly, that kid single-handedly, I shouldn't say single-handedly, but he transformed the Bucs offense.
Sure,
one of the big reasons they went from crap to fourth in the league was because their running game went from 32nd in the league to top 5. So that's a huge transformation.
It's the whole chicken and the egg concept there. Where am I better off getting a really good running back behind my mediocre offensive line, or upgrading my offensive line and getting a running back like Bucky Irving or Chase Brown in Cincinnati, somebody like that, who really thrived last year, and they weren't picked in the first round. Najee Harris, as far as I'm concerned, was a bust for Pittsburgh, and he is now with the Chargers in LA. But he, their offensive line though wasn't great for a couple of those years. Najee was there, and that hurt him. So you wonder if he's going to turn it around now. But it's like, what's more important for me? I think if you've got a solid offensive line, or if you use a couple of early picks in the trenches there, and then draft one of these guys later on, like a Henderson or a Judkins or somebody like that. If you grab one of them around later, you're better off. And by the way, offensive linemen have got a lot of the times, if it's a really good one, can have a longer shelf life.
Right.
And it's easier to replace a running back behind a good offensive line than it is to replace a really good offensive lineman.
Yeah, Najee Harris didn't benefit at all playing under Matt Canada and Arthur Smith the last couple of years.
Well, and no quarterback either. You know.
So when I say he's a bust, I don't put it on him. I put it on it was a bad fit organization. It was
a bad fit.
Yeah. I mean, statistically, he was fine, right? I mean, 1,000-yard seasons, and he caught the ball.
17-game seasons and 1,000 yards. I mean, what are you averaging? 68 yards a game.
60 yards a game. We got to get.
But when you got a handful of guys out there not doing that, it still looks good.
No, I think it's league wide, and just in terms of the emphasis on the running game. And I think it's returning because we're starting to see teams that are having success, run the football. That's and look, then the Eagles win this copycat league, right? The Eagles win the Super Bowl, and they got incredible running quarterback and a freaking unbelievable back. But offensive line's pretty good too.
Offensive line and wide receiver weapons, all pretty elite.
Exactly, it's all elite. But I do think there'll be a little bit more importance for running back. As far as the Bucs are concerned, they're not looking for that, but they may be looking for receivers. So, in your receiver drafts, who are the rookies that are going to stand out, you think?
Well, I'll tell you, McMillan is really good. I like him quite a bit. He's a big kid who can run. And he gets a lot of 50-50 balls. He's a guy I like a lot. Ibuka from Ohio State's a great slot receiver. I'm not saying Tampa Bay would necessarily need one of those, but
his name has been linked to Tampa Bay quite a bit because he's a very Godwin-esque type player. I think people have compared him to Chris Godwin.
Yeah, I love Godwin, but eventually you're going to have to replace Godwin and Evans
and Mike Evans.
Matter. Yeah, Evans is up there too. So those are a couple guys that really stand out to me. But the receiver thing, again, in the same situation where it's such a deep class that you can get quality wide receivers later on in drafts. And again, it's linked a little bit to situation where they go. But look, if a wide receiver in the draft goes to a bad team but has an okay quarterback, that might be great for fantasy numbers because they're going to play behind most of the time. If you throw somebody on Carolina, that's not the worst thing in the world. But it's going to depend on the fit for those as well. But that's the other thing. You can get receivers and running backs all day long in these drafts, and the quarterback thing. Like I said, I'll wait on that.
Yeah. Yeah, the quarterbacks are just. I think Shador's going to drop like a stone myself because
You think he'll be late first round? Or you think he'll go to second round?
I think he'll go late first round.
Yeah, I do too.
I see somebody trading up, like the Lamar Jackson thing. Somebody trading up to get him and get that 5th year on the rookie contract.
Yeah.
Like maybe trade from the second round back into the first round and grab him. I can see someone like the Browns doing that. Look, the Browns, I think they're going to take Travis Hunter at 2. But if Sanders starts dropping, I could see the Browns, now that they are done paying picks off to the Texans for that Deshaun Watson debacle, that they might trade, a 2 and maybe a future 1 to jump back in there.
Because they've got the first pick of the second round too.
Yeah, right.
So that would be a good one to trade up to around 12, 13, maybe with the Cowboys. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Jackson Dart or maybe even Will Howard's or guys down the list are going to turn out to be better quarterbacks than the guys at the top. Because once again, the guys at the top are not going to great situations if they, if Shador goes to the Giants or something like that.
Do you guys think if his name was Shador Washington and not Shador Sanders, and he wasn't connected to his dad all this time, that number one, he would still have the hype behind him, because I don't think he's an amazing quarterback. I think a lot of it is who he is and who his coach has been.
I'll say this. If you can walk into a bar in Colorado, as I recently did, and talk to a student who went to Colorado, and they just absolutely just trash both the boys and a lot of the football players, like I did, and then you back that up with a lot of other, rumors or whatever about you don't think the NFL teams know what I know? I didn't do that much research. I only had 3 beers. So it's just, there's a lot to be had there. Yep. And I think sure, if I'm a team and this quarterback has only played for his dad in one offense, it's a weird dynamic. I'm not saying it's a positive or negative. It's a weird dynamic, and you're betting the future of your organization on this. You're building, it's a pretty big risk, is what I'm saying.
The interesting side part of that is that, Sanders got sacked a lot last year. And so when you evaluate Sanders, there's certain things you can say, yes, he does this well, doesn't do this well, whatever. But he never looked fully comfortable in the pocket last year a lot of the time. And so, but the Dion factor of it. I mean, Dion's the greatest self-promoter ever in the NFL, probably. Yeah. And but you also have to realize if you draft Shador, there's, first of all, there'll be rumors all of a sudden, Dion's going to come here eventually and be the head coach. You got to worry about that. And if I was looking at Sanders, I want to already have an established veteran quarterback to where I'm not linked to putting in Sanders right away day one to be the starter, like the Bears had to do last year, and like Washington did and whatnot, and New England and Denver. But that'd be the ideal spot for him. And if you get him later in the draft, you're going to save a little bit of money on what you got to pay him in a rookie contract. So a team that already has a decent quarterback who's going to start next year, week 1, no matter what, who might be north of 30, or would be south of 30, over 30, let's just say that, over 30, then that might be a decent spot for him.
I would hate to be in a quarterback room where Shador Sanders is not starting.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm saying is like, if he's not starting, what's going on then?
Yeah.
Is dad out there saying, I don't know what the hell the Giants are doing, or I don't know what the hell this is. I mean, he's going to be asked about it at every press conference. And I don't know. It's a weird dynamic.
That's a little bit true of any rookie quarterback that comes in, though.
Yeah.
But more
when
so
you get
with
drafted
Shador.
when you get drafted later, like the best thing for Shador, like at a personal, like if I was Shador's dad, I would want him to go later in the draft. He's not going to want
a better situation. Yeah,
he's
to
not
a better
going to
team.
want for money. He doesn't need to make, like, it's not like he's going to all of a sudden transform his family's life with his first contract in the NFL. That's not going to happen. Right. So if he can go later, like as a father, and now I'm sounding like Stephen A. Smith or whatever. But as a father, though, I would want him to go to the best possible situation with the least amount of pressure starting out, where you're not expected to come in and be the savior of the franchise.
I agree. Yeah. But I do think, if it would be better for Shador if he didn't have that other baggage,
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it would be, it just would. And it is what it is. He's your dad. You can't change that, but it's just a weird situation. And I'm not sure, obviously all these NFL teams have options. You know, you have to make that. And I think he's a talented quarterback? I do. I've watched him play a lot, and I think he's really good off platform. He's, you know, I don't think he has the strongest arm, but I think he's really accurate. He has really great touch, you know, on deep balls and fades. I think he's, you know, I see that all the time. But there's just a lot of other stuff that comes with being a quarterback, and especially in the NFL. And when your dad's in that situation, he's been your only coach. And there's a lot of questions that I think if his name wasn't Sanders, he would actually be a way better opportunity. And I think it would have served him well to get away from his dad and not play for his dad, frankly.
Oh, sure.
For evaluation.
Find out a lot about him.
Yeah. For evaluation's sake. So, you know, I hope he finds a good situation and it works out for him, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
The other wide receiver to keep an eye on, Travis Hunter, wide receiver cornerback, because he'll be the first guy you can play wide receiver to go off the board, but you got to start wondering his value if he's only going to play wide receiver part of the time, you know, and how much will he play? I know he wants to play both ways all the time. That's not going to happen. But depending where he goes, that's the one you got to watch. As far as tight ends go, there's two players to look at tight end this year. It's Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. Warren from Penn State, Loveland from Michigan. Beyond that, the tight end class does not impress me that much.
Yeah. People have talked about that for the Bucs. I don't see it. I think Cade Otton has been dramatically improved.
I'm fine with Cade Otton. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, last year especially, he's just gotten more physical. He's gotten more better. He's just gotten better at everything. And the guys behind him are really good too. Payne Durham is developing, and Devin Culp is developing. They've got options there. So I don't think they're going tight end, but wide receiver I think is a definite option. And there's some good ones down the road. I think they grab one in the third or fourth round, probably fourth round, because they're going corner, linebacker, inside linebacker, edge rusher first, and then corner probably second. We'll see.
I filled in one time for you, JP, real quick. I filled in for you one time with Tim, and Tim hated working with me so much the next day he said he was sick and we canceled it.
I saw that.
Yeah, I took it personally. I did. Much like Jordan in the documentary, I took it personally. Yeah.
Well, not only that, he just said you sound a lot like Stephen A. Smith, and that's maybe the worst characterization I've ever heard.
Actually, the truth is I felt so inferior playing your second chair. I said, I can't do that again. I'm making myself look like an ass. I just can't do this. Same thing I do every day with JP.
Worse than when I'm on the show.
Same thing I do every day when I'm with JP. I'm like, I can't live up to this. I'm way out of place here. What am I doing?
That is not true. That is not true. Listen, anytime you can work with a man that's been stabbed 5 times and lived, I mean, that's a plus.
He's the 50 Cent of broadcasting.
Yeah. It's about what I'm worth.
Let's just finish this up. You do not look like or act like Stephen A. Smith, and you don't look or act like 50 Cent. So I don't know where the hell we're going with this. It's the usual on this show. Complete
chaos.
Horrible analysis. Chaos. All right. Tell everybody how they can get your content, my man. For all these fantasy football geeks out there that love your work.
At That Happens, you can find me on Twitter. That's THIT Happens on Twitter. The Fanciful Island podcast, Chad and I put out the Buckeyes Daily Blitz. And then also Fantasy Draft Proxies. If you want help with your draft, reach out to fantasydraftproxies.com. And we offer services there. We can help you out with your draft, either in the college side of this with the draft coming up, or when you get closer to fall and summer, late summer, early fall, help you out with your drafts there.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Tito. Appreciate it, partner.
Thanks, boys. Talk to you soon.
All right. Hey, we have breaking news. Breaking news in the local sports world, my friend.
Uh-oh. Who got fired?
The head coach of the Rowdies. Robbie Nielsen is out. Robbie Nielsen, his team's off to a 1-3 start. That's according to Mark Topkin of the Times. Now doing soccer. Awesome. Ryan Helfrich, the team president, said it was not up to the standards. Assistant coach Steve Coleman, who joined the staff in January, will serve as interim head coach starting with Saturday's match against Loudoun United FC.
When you get Dan Lucas on to break it down.
Appointing Steve Coleman as interim head coach reflects our confidence in the group we have. Rowdy's vice chairman Brian Alt said. Brian Alt's the vice chairman? In a short time at the club, Steve has already taken it upon himself to understand our Rowdy's culture and is fully committed to supporting our players on and off the field. Alt also said that St. Petersburg is not a major league city, and we would be looking to split our season in Montreal. Oh, interesting.
He's been talking to Stu.
That's not true. I just made that up. Because last time I actually saw Brian Alt in person, I was at he came and did a coffee talk about 100 people in the room. This is when he was pitching the Montreal. Is that Brian? He's so verklempt. He's so verklempt. He was selling the Montreal St. Pete thing. I was like, this poor fella. Like I know he's making a lot of money, but you got to go out and talk to people face to face and sell this shit.
The people in Montreal didn't even want that. I'm telling you, I know.
Yeah, of course they
Didn't want that.
I mean, God.
They want their expos back.
So I didn't even know he was the vice chairman of the.
It's pretty funny.
Of the Rowdies, but they got a new head coach. They have that, by the way, they have a great product over there. I haven't been in a while, but that stadium, Al Lang, right on the water, and the Rowdies fans, and they packed the place. The team's been really good. It's really like, if you haven't been, you got to go. You got to go. It's one of those things like go to St. Pete. You go to downtown St. Pete, which has all the great restaurants and bars and outdoors and stuff, especially this time of year where the weather's great. And you walk over to the Rowdies game. It's a great atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Highly recommend. That is a perfect fit right there at Al Lang Stadium. It's fantastic. All right, partner, that'll do it for the week. I'm exhausted.
It's a great week.
It's been a great week, but I'm exhausted. Getting back from vacation, I haven't been sleeping well for some weird reason, and I need a break. So I got a hockey game tonight. We got the Red Wings coming in tonight. Then I got the All-Star Golf Tournament tomorrow.
So actually to let you sleep a little bit. Just leave you alone for a few days.
Yeah, I can't sleep tomorrow, though. I'm going to get up early and get over to the All-Star Golf Tournament. And then we got and there's an outing Saturday night where everybody gets liquored up at the All-Star event. It's always tons of fun. See a lot of celebrities there. And then Sunday we got more hockey as the Sabres come to town. And then it's Monday. So
got Rays Braves all weekend too.
Rays Braves all weekend long. So no days off, baby. No days off. The weather's great. It's good to be out. So get out there, enjoy our local teams, because the Rowdies are coming home this weekend. The Braves and Rays are going to be incredible at Steinbrenner. Make sure you stop by Riveters pre and post game. And you can park there, walk to the stadium. It's about a mile walk if you're up for it. And let's go Rays. Let's go Bolts. We got draft coming up, and we got all kinds of the Rowdies. So support your local teams, restaurants, and all those great things. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.
Thank you.